Are industrial robots causing injuries to Amazon employees? Let's see it. Now, normally we would expect robots to make workers' jobs safer, less repetitive and less training. But in reality, it seems that the situation is a little bit different, at least for Amazon's workers. In fact, in September 2020, Review obtained from an Amazon informer a series of reports on work safety, and these reports show data on injuries and serious injuries gathered from 2016 to 2019, data gathered over more than 150 Amazon fulfillment centers in the United States. And this data shows an increase in the number of injuries over this period of time. In 2019, there have been, for example, more than 14,000 serious injuries, about 7.7 per 100 employees, which is more than 53% with respect to 2016 and roughly twice industry average. Now, this increase in injuries has been observed mostly during the peak in consumerism, let's say, for example, Prime Day or Cyber Monday, where of course there are more parcels to be processed. But another thing that has been observed is that there has been an increase up to more than 50% with respect to standard warehouses, an increase in injuries in robotic warehouses, where robots work alongside humans. So what are we dealing with? What are we talking about here? Is there some sort of problem, dystopian problem related to the robots that are rebelling against the Amazon's employees? Let's talk first about the types of robots that are employed at Amazon fulfillment centers. Now, the first ones are robotic arms, like the palletizer or the RoboStore, that are able to lift up to 165 kilograms in the case of palletizer and move it around the conveyor belts, or in case of a RoboStore, they can lift up to several tons from different levels of the warehouse. But the most interesting robots and the most discussed, let's say, because they're pretty numerous and they're also mobile, are the Kiva robots. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the Kiva robots. Kiva Systems was a company that was acquired by Amazon and became Amazon Robotics in around 2012. And they design and they produce this sort of Roomba on steroids robots. So these robots, they move around and they lift the pods with all the products to be processed. So basically these large Roombas move around, they place themselves beneath these pods, they, thanks to a screw mechanism, they lift the pods and they move around. So instead of having the employees walk to the pods to get all the stuff, you get the robots walking to the employees. Now, these Roombas, these robots, these Kiva robots, are not very fast. They move at around 4 or 5 kilometers per hour. But since they're pretty big, I mean, they weigh up to more than 100 kilograms, they can potentially damage some employees. So that's why they're kept in specific areas, in specific cages, which are protected from the other employees, from the employees which are working outside. And the robots themselves, they're equipped with cameras and sensors to identify where they're located and if there are any obstacles. We see a video right now.
Here we've got cameras, sensors. They're looking for any obstructions that might be on the floor. That'll send information back to the heart of it, and it'll tell the robot to slow down and come to a standstill safely. We also have scanners underneath, which is recognising where it is on the FC floor and move it from one location to another location.
Now, in case of obstacles, sometimes there is the need for an employee to come inside of these areas, in these battening cages, and to remove the obstacle. But there is the case, there is the potential that an accident may happen. Maybe one of these robots pass on the employee's feet and they hurt him. So, in case something like this is required, the employees wear a specific vest, a robotic safety vest, with some modules, some radio frequency modules that are able to send signals to the robots. They can then slow down or even stop in case an employee is nearby. So it seems that from a technical point of view, the employees are pretty well protected from the robots. So what is the problem and why in robotic warehouses there are more accidents? So according to the employees, there are two big issues. First one is that since robots arrived, the productivity targets increase because robots are able to process more items per hour, from 100 items per hour before to now 400 items per hour. So they basically increase the rate at which items are being processed, and the humans, to keep up the pace with the robots, they have to work faster. And working faster can cause, of course, an increase in injuries. But the second point is even more interesting because it seems counterintuitive. Basically, the robots save employees time because they don't have to walk to the pods the pods are coming to themselves. So it would seem that employees don't have to fatigue that much. But in reality, the fact that employees are standing all day at their post, processing all the items, standing for up to 10 hours per day, it can strain the employee. Because at least if you walk to the pods, it's sort of like a break. At least you're doing something other than standing still. So what they realized is that if the employees are standing still for the whole day, doing repetitive movements, so taking all the stuff, all the items, it can lead to straining, it can lead to injuries. So this is what the employees and the report said. But how did Amazon respond to these, let's say, accusations in terms of work safety? Well, initially Amazon responded with a pretty general statement regarding its priorities. It said that the priority, of course, is the workers' safety, so they would never do something like that. But later Amazon provided a more detailed answer. At least this is what I've gathered from Amazon Italy, which said to an Italian newspaper that basically, according to their metrics, they found no correlation between the increase of the number of injuries and the presence of robots. So they say that basically the metrics are the same for robotic warehouses and standard old-fashioned warehouses. But Amazon did not specify fully which were these metrics. So it seems there are still a couple of open points that need to be clarified. But what can be said is that robots can help us. Robots can, in fact, make our jobs safer, make our jobs less repetitive, but only if we place the human at the center and the human well-being, safety and health instead of productivity and target numbers and all this stuff, because this is potentially what might happen, the fact that people are straining themselves to keep up the pace with the robots. So I would say that the real enemy here are not the robots, but the fact that people try to squeeze as much profit as possible at the expense of workers. Now, let me know your opinion in the comments. If you like this video and you want to see more videos on these topics, hit like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching, my name is Paolo and see you next time.